Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games. This is either a Wednesday or a Friday night, one of our weeklies. Two powerful wizards indeed, Tony Scapone and Rodney, both actually just top 8'd a really big MTGO challenge. It was like 104 people. Tony with this mono blue EO list that he's been working on. Rodney with mono black Reanimator. See which of these volatile combo decks do its thing. Rodney winning the die roll, gets to Thoughtseize to start things out, poke a hole in this hand. Grim Monolith jumps to the front of the pack. That card is so crucial to these types of strategies. It does feel, without having played the deck, like it's just extremely strong. It's not present. Just what a huge difference. Talking about having 6 mana on turn 2. Play that off of a soul land, possibly more. Allow for Coveted Jewel or any number of broken plays. Instead, it's just going to be a Seagate Restoration and a Mox Opal. With the coast clear, looks like a Unmask actually going to target himself. Grabbing Archon. That is a very solid clock, even with the -1 from the animate. Archon of Cruelty. Doing 8 each turn. 3 from the trigger, 5 from the combat damage, and Ancient Tomb not looking strong here when your life is quickly evaporating. I suppose if he could cast any meaningful spell with it, he might be okay, but this is really not looking good. Thought seizing. Tony with just the top of his deck. Ring. Potentially useful here if he's got the mana. Metamorph. Oh, wow. That is an absolutely savage top deck. Just one for the ages there. Rodney had decimated his hand. But Metamorph coming off the top rope. Destroying the board here. Archon of Cruelty straight to the Boneyard. Do not pass go. Draw a card on top of it. And how the turntables turn. Now Tony's got just a 2-turn clock on Rodney. His doesn't have that -1, -0 on it, so it's going to be 9 and 9. Here we go. Swing number 1. Can Rodney swing this back in the other direction? Reanimate will not do now, as Archon costs 8. The 1 ring. Oh, and that's going to do it. The 1 ring would stop the ETB, even if he drew an Exhume or Animate Dead. Wouldn't be able to get the job done as the 1 ring closes the door. Wins game number 1. Rodney gonna have the play here. Generally with Reanimator, you're not thrilled to have the play back-to-back like that. That means you lost game number 1, even when you had the play. However, Tony mulling down to 5. Not ideal, but you do have to have a solid opener with PO. I don't think you can just keep a middling hand. You don't have cantrips. Like, you pretty much need mana, something to do. That is a very susceptible strategy. We're talking about posing deck with a fistful of discard. Thoughtseize, Unmask, Grief. There's just so many cards that can just poke a hole. Even a solid 7. Update the slideshow. It was such a stunning turn of events there. Metamorph mostly in there to combo with Coveted Jewel, but certainly good enough to copy anything in Reanimator. Grief Continues to erode Tony's hand, and now again, Reanimate. Setting a 6-turn clock against a hellbent opponent. See where this goes. 1 card in hand now. Urza's Saga. That can make the 2 bodies necessary to block Menace. Very meaningful line of text. To stabilize against. Fetch lands. Ready to fire something off post-combat. A Sedgemoor Witch. He ritualed that out with 3 mana available. Not actually sure why. Let me know in the comments if you can think of a reason for that. Anything, the Dark Ritual after the fact, give you a body. Oh, now he's Dark Ritualing. Interesting. All right, so he's burned 2 Dark Rituals for very little effect here. Just for a single pest. 1 ritual to leave the mana open. Other to make the pest. Well, at any rate, the Urza's Saga not able to stabilize, as Tony's other mana sources were Ancient Tombs. Caused just too much life loss to get out of that situation. Let me know if you can make sense of that Dark Ritual situation there. Seems like having a couple of Dark Rituals in hand could be a solid backup plan for Reanimator. If you do draw Bristlebrand or Archon, you could potentially cast it from there. Tony again down to 5. That may have been a situation where you just feel like you can't lose. Tony able to get Saprasand Scary and a couple of Lotus Petals down. Unmask hits the 1 ring in his hand. Puts himself in a mode where he can potentially top deck something. Having 4 mana on board. The other 1 ring, so double discard. Gets both 1 rings out of there. That would be a difficult card to hang with. The 1 ring, unless you have a early reanimation, well, Gristlebrand certainly would keep up with it. Here we go, Exhume. I mean, mostly closing this out. I cannot imagine a situation where you're drawing 14 here and not getting the job done. Probably want to play around Metamorph. Winning the turn. Winning would be good, I would say. Though I don't think his list can very easily win from here. He's got the chain combo in there. Let's see if he can get out a Apprentice, Chain of Smog. Because otherwise, I mean, if Tony gets another Metamorph and copies this Gristlebrand, I mean, that's got to be game. There's no way he's losing after drawing 14 cards. His deck can definitely win on the spot. Reanimator mostly can just shred your opponent's hand, disrupt any creatures on the board with things like Archon. Oh yeah, he's going to discard. Tony's got a live one here. Five mana. I guess it's pretty much just got to be Metamorph, though. Ancient Tomb. Now Apprentice into Chain of Smog, and that's going to do it. Tony did have an opening. That is crazy. However, Apprentice and Chain able to stop him from getting additional draws toward what would have been a spectacular comeback.